Hello everyone, welcome to Satsang. Let's start with silence. Leave everything and everyone behind. Nothing has importance enough to be present, to occupy your mental space. Keep it clean, pure. And for those who can, filled with divine love. Just that, just love. Remain there. Don't allow any disturbances. Okay, so today it is Satsang in English. Para aqueles que estão a assistir em português, o próximo Satsang em português será domingo às 18 horas. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a post that was made today. Usually the Sangha shares posts that are texts that they pick up that were written some time ago, but today it is a fresh one. Because it is an important subject for all of you to be able to test yourselves to see in which kind of maturity your spiritual path is. Because most of the times there is a very strong power taking place, which is self-delusion. And that is very difficult to counter. And these posts which are made, those texts that were written, it's not just about one philosophy, it's not just about one type of seeker of truth. It is for everybody. And for those who are following these satsangs, you must have noticed that I speak directly to you, not using too much spiritual terms like you would speak to the milkman or something like that. Simple, direct words without going through these philosophical terms, because sometimes this gets in the way. And when you uphold a philosophical uh, context and you become, it becomes like a second identity, this complicates a little bit. And sometimes when there's posts that don't speak this non-dual language about the seeker, which is an illusion, the quest, an illusion, this makes restlessness in some seeker's mind, and they have to come and correct or question, but isn't that an illusion? Oh, I'm sick of that quest for the seeker of truth and all of that. So for these ones, if you're having difficulties in understanding direct language, then maybe there's some reflections that you must do. But let's go to that later. So the post today, it is about measuring how deep, how solid is this illusion concept in your quest. So if you see, if you believe deeply that the seeker of truth and the quest for truth is an illusion, and whatever efforts you are making in this direction of pursuing freedom, it is in fact a way to assert the reality of illusion. So it is a way to keep yourself entangled even more. If you believe this, and for that reason, you're not making any spiritual efforts, like it was written in the post, then you may be onto something big, something good. You may be a very mature seeker. But you have to test this. You have to test this deeply. See if this is really the case. Because if you believe in this, then you have to stand up to these words in every way possible, not just in the spiritual context, what you call spirituality. So in the other parts of your life, this same vision, if it is mature, it has to be there. So no efforts, there must be no efforts in maintaining that body, in securing food, shelter, and all of these things. No efforts, no desires, and no efforts must be there, or at least desires you cannot avoid sometimes, but at least no efforts can be there to secure love, relationships, uh, family environments, family situations, uh, having a family life. No point, it is just an illusion. So, no efforts being made here also. And for sure, uh, you're not in participating in social medias, and you're not correcting uh, others' philosophies or something like that, because it's all an illusion. There's no one there to correct the other, and there's no other to be corrected. It's just a play of illusion. There's no fears, and if fears arise, you don't buy them. You're just keeping quiet, keeping quiet. There's no one and nothing to engage. You're just abiding in that stillness in the source. And if you find all these points there as an experience for you, a factual experience, then everything is in its right place. And you can be sure that it is just a matter of time for delusion to dissolve. And like it was posted, for you, time will be irrelevant also. It doesn't matter because it is not real. Having a spiritual belief, this has to reflect every aspect of what you call your life. Every aspect. If by chance this spiritual concept of delusion, it's not uh, in every spheres of your life, in everything that you're observing, eyes closed or eyes open doesn't make a difference. What is being observed outside of the body, what's being observed from inside the body, in that intimate space of perception. If it's not the same outlook, then something it's not where it should be. And this idea, this wisdom, this highest wisdom that everything is an illusion, well, it doesn't have any deeper meaning for you. And this you have to evaluate and see. Because if you look at what you call your life, and it's a dream, yes, it's not real, but still, efforts are being made to secure your safety, to secure your food, to secure shelter. If you're hankering and investing into relationships, to a family life, protecting those things, taking care of them as important. If the ideas of, for example, losing that bring tremendous fear and safety, if you find yourself tempted to engage in social medias, seeing what is going on. What is this doing, the other doing, this post, that post, or posting your own things, and all of that. Trying to teach, to clarify, to assert your opinion, your vision, to collect likes and all those things. Then, my friend, like I've written in the post, then it's just, well, things are not what they're seen. And that, if that is happening, then a complete evaluation needs to be done, because needs if there is the quest for truth. But if there's no quest for truth, then well, it's just a worldly person, so nothing to worry about. But if it's liberation that you're after, and your life, what you call your life, in every sphere, but except the spiritual one, is used to pursue, to secure, to preserve, to invest, to create, to change, then it is just a worldly life. As long as worldly efforts are maintained, as long as worldly endeavors are maintained, spiritual ones will have to persist also. And you see, I've spoken before about the life of Ramana a little bit. And in that context, there was a point in his life, at least that it is how it is told, the story. There was a point in his life where his brother asked him, "Why are you living the life of a household and behaving like a sadhu?" It seemed like some criticizing, but he didn't take it that way, because that really made sense to him. He had his vision, his experience about the nature of reality. So he had that glimpse, and it really didn't make sense. So he dropped everything and went for deep meditation for a long time and silence, not engaging in any way with the world, because it didn't make any sense. And if you observe the paths of the saints and sages, you will find this mark. There is the life which is a worldly life with worldly goals. It is shifted into a spiritual life. That means a life which has only freedom, only God as the goal, and everything else is just for this only. And stories are stories, and they go in different ways, but more or less, if you have to draw a schematic, it is like this. And eventually, that reaches a point where everything else drops. All spiritual investments stop. For some, not for everybody, for some, depending on a lot of factors. But let's draw it like this. But surely, first mundane quests, dependencies, fears, and everything, they are dropped. Spiritual quest taken fully, full-time dedication to nothing else, then abiding in that stillness. Because if you jump from the first one to the last one, you're just deluding yourself, just living a worldly life. Because when you say, for someone, for those who say, "Oh, I'm sick of that seeker of truth thing," what is left for you? You figure it out. But this is a way for you to measure where are you standing really. And superficially, you can have a good evaluation if you want. Deeper evaluations take time. Take time, take a lot of work because your eyes, your mind cannot see at once. It has a lot of obstacles. But with work, this can be seen. So we went to the extremes of both. But on the other hand, if you find yourself seeing this life, this story of the seeker of truth, the quest for truth, as an illusion, as it is, but at the same time, you find yourself also attached, dependent, weakened, and not being able to stand up completely to this, then you keep this concept in the highest as the north, as that where you must head to, and you work all the other parts which are not in the same line as this highest truth. And this is where spiritual practices come into play. You see, spirituality has become a big marketplace. And it is very complicated because everybody wants to be spiritual. It is fashion these days. And more and more a fashion. So a big market has arisen to satisfy this demand. This demand. And it is very difficult to find something which is valuable. So the best for you is to go back, go back to the old teachings, which are more preserved, to have a better glimpse of what is the spiritual path, really. And this is for the ones who are really in the quest for freedom. Because for those, sweet words don't, they entertain for a little bit as long as they are still entertained with worldly life and are playing both scenarios at the same time, or so it seems, but it doesn't entertain for a lot of time. And sometimes when you're in that place, it's very difficult to discern what's right, what's wrong, who is telling the truth, who is not telling the truth. You can have a little bit of glimpse of what your heart is vibrating according to what is being spoken. Yes? Or you can have a notion by seeing what fears are arising with what you're listening. It is another way of seeing it. But it's complicated because there's a lot of noise there, and it's very difficult to know what is what. So the old teachings, old ones, are preserved, and they have gone through the test of time, and you can see through the teachings, through the scriptures, through the stories, how the spiritual path was, through the stories of the saints and sages, how it was, because human beings are the same, not much of a change. The only change that comes into spiritual teachings is according to crystallizations which were made, because it is normal. A new form, a new language comes to release you from the previous one. It is like this. And as that new language remains there for a period of time, then the personality starts to shape according to this language, and instead of becoming liberating, it starts conditioning you. But this is superficial, just in a way of expressing it. Because deep down, it is the same thing. Always the same thing. And this language, this non-dual language, have become mainstream. So something that took so much of suffering, pain, and difficulties, sacrifices for some, now others that are doing nothing of this, they expect it just like this. Well, you can expect. It is your time. Eventually, for some, not all, those who follow the path of bhakti, for example, of loving God, they don't go through this, not necessarily. And if they have to, God will tell them. And those who are following different paths probably will have to go through that. It doesn't make us, it's not really uh, necessary, because freedom is the goal for some, because there's other things, but no point touching now. And which road you take, if it takes you there, that is the important part. Sometimes you take one path, one direction, then it is over, then it changes, then it is over, then it changes. You go through different ones, just picking up what you need to make yourself whole, complete, ready. And this has a life of its own. And it is through guidance. Guidance tells. And eventually, it has to be there, this direct communication with the divine. If there's no communication, if there's blind belief, but if your heart is telling you, no, but this is the real thing, everything's an illusion, well, you're on the right track. But if you find yourself investing in those things, those human needs, living according to fears, not daring to cross certain boundaries, and most important of all, participating, teaching, clarifying, and all of these things, then, well, contradiction becomes evident. And, well, then do whatever you want because, well, it's on you. But for those who are sincere, they will probably have these two ones. The part that tells them that all this is an illusion, the part which is there, that is attached, dependent, fears, protects, wants to be important, wants to appear, wants to be loved, wants to be accepted, and all of this. And it's clinging to a philosophy like a mantra, but it doesn't deepen, it doesn't become second skin, first skin. Then you have to give the medicine according to the disease. And if these attachments are there, if these efforts are there towards maintenance of illusion, that which you consider already an illusion, then the efforts to free yourself from delusion must be there. But in psychological terms, if you look at these aspects in a psychological way, it probably won't make any sense because you're evaluating with the mind that you recognize now, or you're evaluating from the point from where you stand now, from the vision you have from the world, from yourself, from others, from everything. And if you compare, so if I'm doing practices or not doing practices, what is which? But it's not really like that. Because when you engage in spiritual practices, everything starts to transform as you go through your fears, attachments, and all of this. So eventually, it will not be the same that will be evaluating. Your vision will change, wisdom will start arising, and then eventually, then you'll be ready to stand up to this stillness. And surely these worldly investments, they will be, you will look at them like, this is countering what I need, what is more important. You look at the worldly seeker, if he's in spiritual grounds, he will say, but do I have to let go of everything of my life to follow the spiritual path, to find God, to get enlightenment? Do I have to? Is it really necessary? And for the real seeker of truth, the one who is really after liberation, he will say, do I have to stay in the world to participate in this, which is distracting me completely from this continuous tune with the divine? Do I have to? I don't want to. Those who find themselves divided into these two, well, or you don't have the enough, you're not having the enough intensity in your quest for truth. And that means you're just a worldly person with worldly goals, and they are more important, and these words are not for you. But if you're a seeker of truth and you find yourself divided in this, well, it means you have to increase the intensity and observe what attachments are there, what fears are there, because these questions are only to protect that which is precious to the character. And the seeker of truth is not some title, but it is that which you can see, point, as a result of your continuous choices. It's not like you won the title and that's it, I'm a seeker of truth. No, you just affirm that you are a seeker of truth or not, day after day, continuously, through the choices that you make, through the growth that you have, through all of these things. And when the challenges come, and in the quest for truth, challenges will come, tests will come, in each one, you assert that you're a seeker of truth or not. And that doesn't make a difference if you're living in an ashram, in a spiritual place, or in the forest, or whatever, or in the middle of the city. That's complicated these days. But it doesn't really make a difference. It is the choices that you make. And when the quest for truth becomes so intense, even in dreams you are making choices. Even in dreams you are continuing the practice. All time of, how do you say this? Not awakened, but alert consciousness. All the time is used. And there's a lot of you that really have potential, but are lost in the middle of these concepts, in the middle of these new age teachings. And you're distracted in the marketplace. And to satisfy your heart's thirst, there's a need to go back to the roots and uh, restart. So this is a way that you can evaluate what you're really doing, what is really there, because you see, the spiritual path is about this. Every time you need to reevaluate, every time, because it's like when you read a book, for example. You read a book and you understand certain things of the book. You read it again, new things are found there. Has the book changed? No, you did. And so it is with spiritual practices. It changes. Things that weren't seen become visible, become incredibly big. And as your vision improves, then you can do better choices. Until there's nothing to choose, really. The path of the seeker of truth is not really a straight line, because he is always stranding out from the path, is always turning, because delusion is active, intense, and it is there to conquer. That is a fact. If you're not seeing this, it's because you're just flowing with the blindfold, imagining that you're going to awaken sometime, and, well, nothing will change. Just same old, same old. So the path of the seeker of truth is always to bring back to the track, bring back to the track. And sometimes you think the track is here and you're pulling here. That is good. That's what you see. But then from the fruits of that work will come a better vision. It wasn't really here. It is more here. Then you'll have to bring back, because you'll be always leaving that track. Your mind pulls you to leave that track. Everything there, everything which is from the character, pulls you away from the track. Daily evaluation is needed. Okay, so for today, that's it. Um, Next satsang in English will be Sunday 9 o'clock. So Sunday 9 o'clock we will have English, and Sunday 6 p.m. we'll have Portuguese. Satsang em português às 18 horas. Okay, so make your evaluations, change what need to be changed. Make the best use of your time. That's the only one you have. Okay.